Good afternoon. Once again, it is a coffee break live update coming to you directly from somewhere in the UK. I will wait for a moment before announcing today's topic. Wait till we have some participants, some watchers, some viewers. Ah, there's one now. It is May 12th, 2020. And you'll have to pardon me a moment because I'm going to call up today's transit chart. Oh, it's Michael. Good morning. Yeah, it would be morning over there now. As you noticed, I'm switching to the afternoons here in the UK. Makes it easier for everybody stateside. And what do we got going on in the sky this week? I'm going to touch on the astrology side first before I get into the main topic. Which is shocking, by the way, extremely shocking. I use that very jokingly. Okay, so we've had Saturn turn retrograde at 01 degrees 56 minutes 57 minutes of Aquarius. Not maybe hugely earth-shaking until it gets back into Capricorn, and then the real fun begins, as it were. Sorry for the reflection of the ring light here. I'm going to try to move that. Makes me look like I have alien eyes. So, hi Angie, hi Trish. The main event is when Saturn gets back into Capricorn. That won't take long, probably into, I can't recall exactly, end of May, beginning sometime in the middle of June. So that happens, and then tomorrow we have Venus going retrograde. Then we have Jupiter going retrograde. We already have Pluto retrograde. By August 17th, everything just about in the outer world, outer planets are going to be retrograde. But let's stick to the current time. Hi David, hi Zach. I don't have a lot to say about, again, the Saturn retrograde, but that coupled with communication issues, or because Aquarius is Uranus ruled, so anything electromagnetic is kind of up, anything communications wise is up, that we may see some disturbances in terms of communication breakdowns, not just electronically but verbally and understanding wise between people. That certainly could be with any major planet in the early degrees of a sign. It's hard to pin down exactly what the long-term effect is going to be until it gets past 3 degrees, roughly, of a sign. It's still in the we don't know yet what this is going to look like type thing. So we've got that going on. Communications, Saturn could be also a clamping down on communications, censorship, more control in the electronic media, in social media platforms, etc., etc. Or at the very least, perhaps distortions created by controlling mechanisms. Misinformation, disinformation, false flag stuff in terms of information. Should we say red herrings, things that will like get people go off looking one way without seeing what's going on over here on the other side of the stage. So that's kind of a bit of the Saturn retrograde and Aquarius effect. But once it gets into Capricorn now, it starts dredging up all of the collective and individual issues around the last 4 degrees, 5 degrees of Capricorn, because it won't go all the way back to 22 degrees where it was in January, but it will go back into the last major 4 or 5 degree range. Okay, that's Saturn. Venus turning retrograde is different kind of ballgame. It's not retrograde yet, and Venus is about love. It's about how you express love. It's about desire, in a sense. It's about connection. It's about values. It's about the things we covet or want. It can be Venus can be the spending spree. How should we say it? What is the name for that? Oh yeah, retail therapy. That would definitely be Venus, especially in something like Leo or Libra. So anyway, that said, there's been a lot of back and forth on the Venus judgment as to what Venus and Gemini will look or feel like, but concisely, I think it does kind of tend to have people going back into relationships that have been, relationships that could have been, unrequited loves, etc., etc. So you could have people from the past showing up in one way, form, one shape or another. It could be in dream time. It could be actually they get in touch with you. Maybe they have something nice to say. Maybe they don't have anything nice to say. Maybe you start thinking about people that you'd like to get back in touch with. Hello, Jasmine. Hello, Renee. And you want to reconnect for some reason. Maybe there's unfinished business. Maybe there's unspoken things that have happened or didn't happen between the two of you that you want to have happen. Things that need to be said. Air that needs to be cleared. It'll go all the way back to 5 degrees Gemini before it turns around. So it's going to be there for a while. It's definitely going to be there for a while. Be interesting to see what develops. Hello, Cherry. Hello. I'm getting down under people and West Coast people. This is great from the U.S. Appreciate you all tuning in. This is not the main event. The next main event is Jupiter turning retrograde Thursday. And this is all based on UK time. Hello, David from Portugal. This is based on UK time, British summertime right now. So calculate according to your time zone or look it up on astro.com. Find out where in the world this is happening in your time zone. Again, usually with transits, especially any kind of transiting planet, things may not happen right at the moment that it happens. In other words, the actual point in hour and minutes, but shortly before or shortly thereafter. But with Jupiter, it's so huge. And it's in Capricorn. So look for some sort of possible event around the time it turns around, goes station, because that's when it's going to be the strongest. That's when any station retrograde or station direct is going to be its strongest. It's like a time-lapse exposure on a camera. Aperture is open for an extended period of time. Hello, Catherine from Oz. And so what you get is the effect of doubled or tripled, and in the case of Jupiter, maybe 100-fold, of something having to do with political, financial. It could be benefic, it could be a good thing, or it could be something that's good, but it's damped down, it's not as great as we thought it would be, that kind of stuff, all right? So it's going to travel backwards and overlap at one point, overlap where Pluto is, and again, all right? Not for a while, though. We're talking like 5-6 months here for some of these big boys to go through their retrograde motion and then go forward again. All right, so it's going to take time, and this may be a grinded out thing. Thank you, Mary. This is lovely. So what you're going to get is that effect of, God, when is this going to be over? When is this going to be over? When is this going to be over? Well, it's over when it's over. Hang in there, because it's not the universe or the solar system or the stars picking on you, all right? This is happening in the collective sense. And so we're all connected morphogenetically to each other, to the planetary sphere, to the electromagnetic sphere and magnetosphere of the planet, to deep space. All the radio frequencies information that we receive at a very subconscious level through our cellular structure, through our electromagnetic field, our personal aura, those things are being impacted, whether you want them or not. You'd have to live in a lead-lined bunker to avoid any of this stuff, all right? And that's not something you want to do anyway. It's not healthy. Okay, so that kind of tends to cover the astrology for du jour and the week, except for one thing. I have to mention that today is Mars at 29 degrees Aquarius. It's going to move into the next sign of Pisces soon. That will be very strange and interesting. But we also have, with that, at the 29th degree, the emphasis again of Aquarian communication, group collective experience. Mars, it's like there's some sort of action we need to take, but we don't know what it is. Wait for it, because this is something that is determined by divine mandate, not by your personal egoic will. 29th degree, anaretic degree, it's always that thing of like, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't. You do it anyway, okay? It's because you were supposed to do it anyway. And Mars, it's about knowing how to take action at the right time. So it's going to pass over into Pisces and go limp. as a fish. This is exactly what happens with an action figure sign like Mars, Mr. Warrior. He gets into Pisces and it's like, what was that I was supposed to be doing again? I don't know. That's going to happen over the next day. So things might get a little foggier after this Mars moves into Pisces thing. Okay, just want to let you know that. That's coming up. So we got Mars going limp. We got Venus going, I wonder if I should have stayed with so-and-so. Jupiter going, whatever's going on in the collective, it might be wise to do the opposite of what it is that the authorities are telling you to do, because maybe they don't know, and maybe there's something so big cooking in the background that you won't see it for a while. All right, so just keep that in mind. Saturn retrograde, again, more influential, or the influence of, what do you want to call it? The world management team, the elite, the powers that be, interfering or planting disinformation, misinformation, false flag kind of stuff, red herrings, people looking one way and actually where the action is the other way. So that's the astrology. Now I want to get to my main point. My main point is that the shocking news here, and I can only bring this up with this caveat. I am not going to mention the FIVE-GEE nomenclature in its normal sense. I'm not going to mention COVID 19 in its normal context. But I will say this. I just finished an amazing piece of work, and in spite of the fact that we have a book, and in spite of the fact we have all this information coming out at us all the time, 24/7, through social media, through the internet, through the airwaves, we're picking things up we're not even reading or watching, it's still valuable to sit down and read a book from cover to cover in a linear time. And I'll tell you why. Because you get a better sense of logic and feeling in doing that. You have a more felt sense and a more deeper understanding of what can be happening, all right? So reading, I know, has sort of gone out of fashion, and it's like reading things on an iPad is probably still very popular, or a Kindle, but I prefer to get the physical book for a number of reasons, and everybody can yell at me for saying, oh, that's not ecologically sound, you're cutting down trees. No, I'm not cutting them down. A lot of this stuff's printed on recycled paper now. So that's it. The book, get it if you can. Get it in Kindle form if you can't buy the hard copy or the paperback. It's the second printing of this, it's the second edition. Actually originally came out in 2017, and it's called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. And I highly recommend this one for a deeper, since it was published in 2017, it was way ahead of the curve of where we are now with this pandemic, all right? Now everybody knows that all the government agencies, all the health organizations around the world, most of them are shooting down the whole idea of any connection between FIVE-GEE and COVID-19. However, there is this to take into consideration. If the information in this book is half as factual as I think it is, in terms of accuracy, in terms of the due diligence and research this scientist, this Phi Beta Kappa scientist graduate from Cornell University did, and he was researching this obviously for a very long time, because the footnotes go all the way back into the 1700s. We are living currently in an environment that is really inimical and not healthy for anybody, for all biological life, all of the environment itself, and even what we think to be going on in terms of spiritual evolution. And I'm going to stick my neck out here and maybe upset a few apple carts and gore a few oxes, but so be it. I ran across a post that was actually originally posted on Facebook on May 4th about the Schumann Resonance. Now, I've gone on and banged on about the Schumann Resonance, and I have been watching the reporting station in Russia on the Schumann Resonance, and it's going up and down like wackadoodle, and has been for the better part of about 10 to 15 months. Normal base frequency of planet Earth is 7.83 hertz or cycles per second. Where it has been peaking is anywhere between 10, 11, 12, 13 hertz, all the way up into 100 hertz in brief brief bursts. This is unheard of. Now, I believe this is a combination of effects. Yes, solar activity or very, very low solar activity. We're in a solar minimum. The weakening Earth's magnetic field, the North Pole traveling 40 to 50 kilometers per year towards Siberia. We're getting, because of the weakened state of the magnetosphere of the planet, we're getting bombarded by a lot more gamma radiation from deep space, from the core of the galaxy. And so with a lower active sun, we are also getting more of those electrons and positrons and protons hitting us at ground level. Now, here's the thing. We have to just look at this logically. Just think about this logically. We are electrical beings. Our heart operates on electricity. Our brain waves and central nervous system operate on electricity. It is proven fact that the electromagnetic field of the heart can be detected by sensitive equipment up to 12 feet away from the body itself. For reading brainwaves, you still have to attach electrodes. That's how weak the circuit impulses are in the brain compared to the heart. And the heart is the first organ that forms in the fetus, all right? Now, get clear about this. The reason earthing works as a therapy is because the soles of your feet are negatively charged. The top of your head, or actually the back of your head, is positively charged. The back of your heart's positively charged. And the back of your sacral region, i.e. the genitals, is also positively charged. But your feet, your knees, your legs, your thighs are all in that negative charge, that negative field. Why? Because you're pointed skyward and you're pulling in electromagnetic sustenance from the ion. It gets stepped down from the solar radiation into the ionosphere, through the stratosphere, into our atmosphere. You are a dipole. Every living creature on this planet, insects, everything, plants are dipoles. Positive on the top, that's the leaves, roots, negative, sucking up all that great earthy electromagnetic energy from the Earth's core that creates the magnetosphere itself that we live inside of. Got that? All right, next point. The ionosphere is the filter point. It's the key part of this whole natural, organic, electronic, magnetic relationship with the cosmos and with our bodies. So when we step out of everything in health depends on chemistry, we are missing the point. And I'll tell you why. Even Deepak Chopra said this in his book Quantum Healing in 1983 or 84, whenever it came out, as an endocrinologist at Boston Medical. We got to stop mistaking the horse as being the rider. And what he was referring to there is that the chemicalization that comes out of our hormonal glands are the symptom or the result of something happening in consciousness and in our electromagnetic makeup, i.e. our aura, if you will. All right? So the planet has an aura, we have an aura, we live within the planet's aura, the sun has an aura, it's called the corona, hello. Its electromagnetic field is meshed with Earth's in sort of a figure eight, and they move together, all right? So all of this web of life is all based on one thing, electricity. Now, according to Arthur Furstenberg's work, he has connected the dots better than I've seen anywhere. There has been ideas from doctors and scientists that the exosome, i.e. the viruses that naturally live in our body, become toxic because they get poisoned by something in our environment, whether it's the food we eat, whether it's environmental pollution, CO2, whatever. And then that toxicity builds up to a point where the cell has to push it out to survive. And that becomes an exosome. And the exosome, in turn, carries with it components, bacteria, viruses that naturally exist within us already. And then they mutate. And then they start attacking the host cell. They start to intrude into the host cell. And that's when the virus is born. Whether it happens in a bat or a pangolin or a human being, it's the same thing, all right? So if people out there are saying, I'm against the U.S. Navy's use of low-frequency active sonar because it's killing dolphins and whales, why don't you think that thing that you're watching me on isn't also doing the same thing? Or the screen on your laptop? or the router in your living room or your dining room or wherever the heck it is. You know, why do you think the TVs are good for you? Why do you think the wiring in your house is good for you? Why do you think microwave transmission and microwave ovens are good for you? If we get outraged about the fact that whales and dolphins suffer because of low frequency electromagnetic communications devices, then where is our thinking regarding our own biology? What about the big bee colony collapses? You know? So what this scientist did is he correlated what was happening prior to the big rollout of telegraph wires, telegraph connections, telegraph operations, and then wireless telegraph, and then radar, and every one of these developments in our culture, in our worldwide civilization, these things have preceded every single pandemic since 1889. So this post that I saw on Facebook, which I'm going to allude to here, is even talking about we're getting blasted by the energies of these times. We're moving through an immensely charged part of the galaxy. Well, I don't know if one section of the galaxy is more charged than another, but whatever the case may be, we are getting pounded by powerful gamma ray and other photonic energies. And they are interacting with our energy fields and with our DNA. It does amplify our sensitivity across the board to everything and anything, all right? And our emotions are, anytime the physical biology is impacted, the mental field goes into high alert. When the mental field goes into high alert, the emotions go bonkers and all this stuff starts coming up. So we're going through a metamorphosis, and the Schumann Resonance is verifying that. But is it natural? Is it spiritual? Or is this being caused by the many, many, many devices that we have placed in the ionosphere and in the low Earth orbit of the lower ionosphere? They're called Starling Satellites. Look it up. I'm not going to say anything more. Starling Satellites being launched since June of last year, and November last year, and January, February, March of this year, and April, and there's a new launch coming this month. And all told, it's supposed to be that there are 42,000 of these communication satellites going to be surrounding the Earth within the next 2 years, beaming FIVE, GEE down toward us at the planet level. Now, since they're already up there, that disturbance, I think, is interesting that it preceded the outbreak of COVID-19. But also, it is, you can go on to ookla.com.net, and you can see the 5G map, excuse me, I said it, 5VE, GEE map around the world and where the most active rays are. Wuhan, China, Milan, London, New York City, all the hotspots, all right? Those went live between last July and November. So if we are polluting our environment with more than just CO2, couldn't also the proliferation of wireless and wired devices create enough disturbance within the Earth's natural magnetosphere to create upticks in the Schumann resonance, to create changes in the weather patterns? Possible. I don't know. I'm saying it could be or it couldn't be. I'm saying you have to open your minds. This is what this whole time is about, is not looking to conventional wisdom for the answers, not relying on what you are told to be the truth. You have to understand that your enlightenment, if you will, your empowerment is your responsibility. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to show you another perspective, all right? And to take action for it. To take action for it. Good afternoon, C. Good afternoon, Lynn. Oh, really? Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for the warning. Don't think that they can't interfere with this stuff. Oh, did I just talk about Saturn retrograde in Aquarius? Oh my goodness. I am going to download this video and repost it on my YouTube channel, and I'll post the link in my YouTube channel onto my page on Facebook. All right. So if any of this goes squiffy in the next few minutes, you can watch the finish, the wind up there. Okay. So one other thing I wanted to bring into the focus is something that was posted by a very good friend, an astrologer down in Australia. She just saw a post in a group, this is about 3 hours ago, saying that his wife suddenly had a nosebleed out of nowhere. He Googled it, and he found, the husband of the wife found that it's a possible side effect of FIVEGE, and I will say no, it can be a possible side effect of 4G. It can be a possible side effect of older technology. Doesn't matter. All of the symptoms that were mentioned as some of the effects related to COVID-19 are identical to verified records of some of the symptoms that soldiers in World War I were experiencing, who were telegraph operators, wireless telegraph operators. Nosebleeds, headaches, insomnia, vomiting, lack of oxygen, asthma, panic attacks, you name it. All of this stuff has not just happened now. It's always happened since the advent of the first telegraph system in this world. All right? So it's not just a one-off thing, not just a coincidence. All right? So this is my message to you. I'm going to post this video on YouTube. I'm going to post the replay link for that video here on my wall. Obviously, some of you are not being able to see me anymore. And I am sorry about that, but I have no control over the sensors. All right? And so it's, I think, legal. I think it's obviously something, if they're so sensitive about it, then obviously they don't want it promulgated. They don't want anybody questioning it. But you have a right to question. You have a right to your sovereignty. You have a right to your choices, to what you give consent to and what you do not give consent to. That is the whole point of spiritual sovereignty. But it's also about defending life. It's not just about your own skin. It's about everybody else's. It's about the other species on this planet that have been suffering with this for 145, 160 years. They too suffer. But who speaks up for them? All right? Who protects them? Who protects the trees? Who protects the flowers? We have a bush just, right outside our house. It was fine. It was flourishing like crazy on the street side until they installed an LED streetlight, replacing the old, I don't know what it was, halogen or something. And half of that plant has died. Half of it has died. Why? Because LEDs are blue spectrum. And the plants that are bathed in that night after night after night, it damages their ability to uptake oxygen and sunlight and create chlorophyll, all right, which is their lifeblood. So it is important that you find the facts for yourself, make your own conclusions, and then stand up for what it is you believe and feel to be right, and speak it and do something about it. So by the time Mars goes into Aries, June 28th, you should have a pretty clear idea of what your action should be. Because when it goes into Aries, it's it's make a choice, decide what you're for, not what you're against, and do something about it. All right. So that's me from somewhere here in the UK, and I will be back Thursday, hopefully at 3 o'clock, unless I'm in Facebook jail. 3 o'clock p.m. British Summer Time. With another installment and more data, and also more commentary on other subjects. Please, in the comments section, let me know if you found this information useful, what other topics you would like me to address or ask questions about of me. I'd be glad to answer them. All right. Signing off for now. Blessings on your journey, and be loving, and don't take any crap off anybody. And that's my final word on it. All right, take care. Love you all. Thanks.